Today's topic for the session is electricity. You have been studying about this topic from grade 6. You are all aware about the basic concepts and terminologies related to this chapter. We are going to learn about the same things in detail, like some practical aspects as well. Now let's see what contents we are going to cover in this session. First is we are going to recap that you already know. Next, we are going to study about the basic terms and their definitions. After that, what is electric resistance and what are the factors on which this depends. Next, we are going to study about the series circuit, how it's being drawn and how the equivalent resistance of the circuit is calculated. Similarly, we are going to study about the parallel circuit connection and the equivalent resistance derivation. After that, we are going to study about the electrical power and the formula related to it. And the last one is the heating effects of current. What do you already know? Electricity is a term that you encounter daily in your life. And scientifically, that we studied is the flow of electric charge in one direction in a conductor. You have been studying that electrons flow from negative terminal to the positive terminal of the battery inside the circuit. And the electricity is the flow in the opposite direction of the electrons, that is from positive to negative terminal. So whenever electrons can freely move, electricity or electric current is generated. Electric circuit. Even electric circuit we have studied in our previous classes. Electric circuit is like a pathway made up of wires that electrons can flow through. Generally, electric circuit consists of an electric cell or a battery, electrical appliances, electrical wires that makes the closed loop in electric circuit through which the electric current can flow and reach the electrical appliance so that the electrical appliance can work. A battery or other power source gives the energy through chemicals stored in it that makes the electrons to move from negative to positive terminal, and hence for the electricity will move from positive to negative terminal. A battery is defined as a combination of two or more cells. In a battery, negative terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the next cell. So this is the connection shown to you, positive to negative or negative to positive of the two cells or the four cells. So we can take any number of cells also. Now the next one, these electric components and their symbols. So in electric circuit, generally we draw the symbols instead of the actual electric component. And this you have already studied. First one is electric cell. Electric cell looks like this, positive terminal and the negative terminal, but the symbol that we draw is given on the right hand side. That is the bigger one line shows the positive terminal and the shorter length line shows the negative terminal. Then comes the switch. Switch in on position and switch in off position. Switch in on position means that we are closing a circuit or we are making the electricity flow through the electrical appliance. So in on position, we are going to draw the symbol like this given. Both of them are correct, so any one we can draw. Switch in off position, we have to draw the symbol like this, any one of them. Then comes the battery. As I told you, battery is a combination of two or more cells. So if more than one cell is being connected, so we have to draw a battery. That is, number of cells will represent the battery. Here the two cells are being connected to show the battery. Then comes the electric bulb. Electric bulb, the symbol is this, electric wire, straight line. Then the new one that we are going to study is resistance. So resistance looks like this. I am going to show this in lab also. So the symbol for resistance is like this mark. Then comes the rheostat. Rheostat is a device in which we can change the resistance. So it's a variable resistance. By making this thing rotate on this axis, we can change the resistance of it. And this is the symbol of rheostat. So this is what that we have already studied till now. Now comes the new thing that you are going to study, that is the basic terms and the definitions. First is electric charge. So from basically I'm going to tell you from the basic thing before coming to the electric current definition. So first we should know the electric charge definition. We have already studied about atom. Atom consists of subatomic particles, that is electrons, protons and neutrons. Electrons are known as negatively charged particles and protons are known as positively charged particles. The unit of charge is known as coulomb and the charge in the conductor or the total charge is calculated by Q is equal to Ne, where Q is the charge, N is the number of charged particles and E is the charge of the one electron, which is actually the fixed value given by minus 1.602 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. If this value is positive, it is the charge of a proton. Then comes the actual definition of electric current or electricity that we generally use in layman language. Electric current is a rate of flow of electric charge past a point or a region. So we already learned about it. Electric current is a flow of electrons. So we can say electric current is a rate of flow of electric charge. So by this definition, we can write the formula of electric current as I is equal to Q by T, where Q is the electric charge flowing through a conductor in time t seconds. The unit of current is ampere, represented by A, and the device used to measure the current is known as ammeter. The next one is potential difference or voltage. So this one is a new term for you, that is potential difference or a voltage. So we already know that in a conductor, whenever the electric charge flows in opposite direction, the electric current will flow. But can the electric charge can flow by itself? No, it cannot flow by itself. We have to provide a potential difference or a voltage. So a cell or a battery provides this thing only. The cell or a battery provides a voltage to the circuit or a conductor so that the electrons can move. So we can say voltage makes electric charge to move in a conductor. If there is difference in potential or if the difference in the voltage at the 2 points of the conductor, then only the electrons will move from the high potential to the low potential end. The unit of voltage is volts and measured by voltmeter. So we can say by the definition that voltage is said to be 1 volt when 1 joule of work is done to move 1 coulomb of charge. V is equal to W by Q. So that is voltage is actually what? It is doing the work to move 1 coulomb of charge. Because of voltage only, the charge is able to move from one place to the other place and henceforth current is produced. Then come to the next one is electrical conductors. Those materials that allow the electrical current to flow through them easily are known as electrical conductors. These materials have very low resistance. For example, all the metals like copper, aluminium, silver, or the alloys of metals, human bodies, saline water, etc. These are conductors of electricity. Next one is electrical insulators, opposite of conductors. These materials does not allow the electric current to flow through them easily. They have very high electrical resistance. Examples are plastic, wood, rubber, wool, cotton, etc. Then comes the next one is electrical resistance. As we discussed earlier also, it is actually the hindrance to the flow of electric current or electricity. More the resistance, less the current will flow through the material. Less the resistance, more the current will flow through the material. So its unit is ohm. So we can say conductors have very low resistance and insulators have very high resistance. More resistance of material, less current will flow. This formula is new for you, that is resistance is equal to rho L by A. Here rho is actually the resistivity of the material. It is a property of a material which will never change. The resistivity value of a particular material is fixed and it is given in ohm meter. Whereas L is the length of the material, A is the area of cross section of the material. Factors on which resistance depends. The first factor is length of the material. So we have seen in the formula resistance is directly proportional to the length of the material. If length increases, resistance increases. If length decreases, resistance decreases. Next one is area of cross section of the material. Similarly, in the formula it is given as resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. Resistance decreases with the increase in the area of cross section and vice versa. Next comes the resistivity. Again, resistance is directly proportional to resistivity. So resistance increases with the increase in resistivity. but resistivity will never change. So if it is asked in the question, the length is changed, area of cross section of the material is changed, does resistivity changes? So the answer is resistivity never changes. It does not depend upon the length or the area of cross section. Only resistance depends upon these factors. So resistivity is a fixed or a constant value of a material. The last one is temperature. So the resistance, this factor is a very minute factor. So generally we don't consider it. But just we should know that at higher temperature the resistance will increase, at lower temperature the resistance will be same. The next one is Ohm's law. So here the circuit is given to you. There's a battery with a voltage V. Ammeter is connected, represented by A. There's a voltmeter across a resistance R. Then let us assume a circuit with a battery of voltage V consisting of resistance R through which I ampere of current is flowing. So Ohm's law states that voltage or potential difference between 2 points is directly proportional to the current or the electricity passing through the circuit and directly proportional to the resistance of the circuit. And the formula of it is V is equal to IR. We can see in the VI graph also it's a straight line. So V is equal to IR and slope gives the R value, that is the resistance value. So by this formula, if V is given and I is given, we can calculate R. If R is given, I is given, we can calculate V. If V is given, R is given, we can calculate I. So any of one is missing, we can calculate by means of Ohm's law. So this is very important formula and the very important statement that you should know, and even the graph. The next one is series circuit. So series circuit we have made here. That is, for example, we have taken 3 resistors connected in series R1, R2, R3 with the battery of voltage V, and an ammeter is connected through which current can be calculated. So I current flows through the circuit. So let us assume total current is I in the circuit, total voltage is V, and total resistance is R. So by Ohm's law we can say that V is equal to IR. But can you see the circuit? Can we just visualize and say that current in all the resistance is same? Yes. So applying the Ohm's law to the individual resistance, we can say V1 is IR1, V2 is IR2, V3 is IR3. Total voltage will be V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. Then we replace the value of V1, V2, V3 by the above equations. That is V equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. We are taking I common here and we are substituting V by IR. Now in the statement, I and I are cancelled from left hand side as well as from the right hand side. We are left with R is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So therefore the values of resistance in series are added up to get the equivalent resistance value. So whenever we have to increase the resistance in a circuit, so we have to connect the resistance in the series connection because the resistance values are being added up in series connection. The next one is parallel circuit. Let the resistance R1, R2, R3 be connected in parallel as shown in the figure. Let current I flows through that circuit. Total current is I, total voltage is V, and the total resistance is R. According to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, and by transposition rule we can see I is equal to V by R. Voltage across all the resistance in parallel is same. So this you should know that voltage across all the resistance in parallel connection are same, but the current is different. So current will calculate in respective resistance by applying Ohm's law again. I1 is equal to V by R1, I2 is equal to V by R2, I3 is equal to V by R3. Total current will be I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Then we replace the values by the above equations. I is equal to V by R1 plus V by R2 plus V by R3. Taking V as common and cancelling at both the sides, we are getting 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So we can say reciprocal values of resistance in parallel are added up to get the equivalent resistance reciprocal value. So whenever we have to decrease the total resistance of the circuit, we have to connect all the resistance in parallel. because the reciprocal value is being added up. Next is electrical power. Electrical power is the rate per unit time at which electrical energy is transferred by an electric circuit. Its unit is watt, or we can say 1 joule per second, as we said rate per unit time. So electric power is usually produced by electric generators but can also be produced by electric batteries or electric cells, as we discussed earlier. The formula of it is P is equal to V into I, that is voltage into current. And we can derive the next formulas also by applying Ohm's law. If we replace I by V by R, so we can get V square by R. And again, if we replace V by IR, we get I square R. So these three formulas we should know, that is P is equal to VI is equal to V square by R is equal to I square R. So depending upon what thing is given to us in the numerical, we have to apply the formula accordingly. Next is heating effects of current. So this also we have already studied in the previous classes, that wherever there is current present, heat is being produced. So various heating devices, for example, geysers, electric irons, heaters, toasters, microwaves, ovens, they all use the property of current for heating effect. Devices which needs heating effect use material of high resistance like nichrome. That is, more resistance of the material, more heat is produced in that material. Amount of heat produced in a material or a circuit can be defined by Joule's law of heating. So this law is very important. So now basically we know that wherever there is current, heat is produced. But how to measure the amount of heat produced or the energy consumed? So it is represented by the Joule's law. When a current I passes through a conductor of resistance R for time t, then the heat developed in the conductor is equal to the product of square of current, resistance and the time. H is equal to I square RT. Heat produced is actually equal to the energy consumed. So both are the same thing. H is equal to E. And by the previous equation we can say actually heat and energy have nothing but power into time. So we can multiply simply electric power by time and we can get heat and energy. Now, many students have confusion about the units. Sometimes heat is given in joules, sometimes it's given in kilowatt, sometimes kilowatt hour. So basically, whenever you have to calculate the heat or energy in joules, always take time in seconds. So whenever you're taking time in seconds, you're getting the energy or the heat produced in joules. But the commercial unit of electricity or energy is kilowatt hour. That is, whenever the electricity bills comes at your home, it comes in kilowatt hour only. 1 unit is equal to kilowatt hour. So they calculate the number of units consumed by you in kilowatt hour. 1 unit is kilowatt hour, and then they multiply it by the cost of 1 unit. So you can just interchange also, like 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to power 6 joules. So otherwise you can take time in hours and power in kilowatts. Then again you will get in kilowatt hour. So whenever it's given like you have to calculate the electricity or the energy, take in kilowatt hour, otherwise you can take in joules. So that's all for today's session. Thank you so much for today's session. I hope you understood all the basic concepts related to all the topics that I covered. Please attempt or try all the NCERT examples related to this topic, and even I'm forwarding you the 4 worksheets. Try those also. Thank you so much.